I don't really read romance manga that often, but when I do, I like to choose carefully because romance manga are hard to get invested in for me, and the only one I've truly got invested in was Horimiya, and unfortunately that's already over, so there's nothing much I can do. But when I heard that there was going to be a new Shonen Jump manga that is also a romance manga, I kind of got my hopes up. To be honest, I think that Blue Box does have some potential as a romance series, as it's kind of a sports series, I'd imagine, a bit too. It doesn't seem to want to focus on the sports, at least in the first chapter, but it is promising to me because honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's not been a lot of first chapters in manga that have really made me like all the characters involved, pretty much all the characters involved, and this one really set the bar for first chapters, at least for me. I enjoyed both the side characters that were introduced, Hina and Kyo. If I mispronounce any names, just comment down below. And I especially enjoyed Taiki, who is going to be an awesome main character. His idealism and his pure adoration of Chinasu is incredibly adorable. And by the way, I have these names written down on a notepad in front of me, and if I ever sound like I'm practicing, because I'm not used to saying these names yet, but it'll get better as we go. But yeah, these guys are incredibly cute together, and this is a review of Chapter 1. If you haven't clued in already. So let's get to reviewing. The chapter opens up with Taiki standing in front of his school, and the narration says, "Every morning, there's this one person who I'm always dying to see." We get the first color spread, and it's a beautiful just rendering of both Chinasu and Taiki. I personally am in love with both these characters. They're so cute, so handsome for both of them. Handsome and cute. I'm so looking forward to this. And that person is a ball to the face. No, of course. So we are introduced to Taiki. He is on the badminton team, and he is a third year in junior high. That would make him, in North American terms, around grade 9. So Chinasu comes over and says, "Oh, sorry about that. Like, are you okay?" He's like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm really fine. It's fine. And then she takes out a caught cat and gives it to him. That's really cute. And she asks for forgiveness, and he's like, "Of course. Like, I didn't even care to begin with. Like, whatever." And so Chinasu and Taiki both go to Imi Junior and Senior High School, which is a combined junior and senior high school with a powerhouse sports program. A quote directly taken from the manga. "After retiring from club activities in junior high, I've been inviting myself over to practice with the high school's badminton team. There's open practice in the mornings, and I try to show up earlier than anybody else. The first one to arrive is always Chinasu senpai from the girls basketball team. In the still chilly gymnasium, she practices her shots over and over. That's who Chinasu senpai is, and I love her for it." So this is revealing a lot of Taiki's motivation and kind of like his whole thing, why he likes Chinasu. It's because he admires her commitment to something. And this is why the next sentence makes sense to me. He says, "I'd sure love to marry her." It's because he sees how committed she can become to something, and the idea of her being so committed to him like that is just bliss for him, which, I mean, amen, brother. Like, having someone committed to you like that is all anyone can really ever dream of, truly. And then, of course, but Kyo Kayasada, who is also a third year in junior high and on the badminton team, says, "Nope, not gonna happen. You couldn't even date her. She's been on cover magazine, she's super popular, and you just are like not popular, and you're just okay at badminton. There's no way you'd ever be able to date her." Taiki says, "No, I come to school in the mornings early on. Like, we have something in common." And he quotes a Canadian legend. I love this manga already. "Because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take." Wayne Gretzky said that, and my man Taiki is repeating it. Oh yes, I love that. Love to see it. But he kind of imagines this as a tournament. Both of them do. He says, then at the very least, like right now he's in stage 1, or he's in the first round where it's like they don't really know each other, and Kyo says, "Set your sights on advancing to the second round. Like, get her number, at least. Like, get her to know your name and ask for her number." And then he says, "Good point." Then we're introduced to the second side character of this chapter, who is Hina Shono, and she is also a third year junior high, so grade 9. And, you know, you can tell that these guys are friends, and Taiki, you know, he's like, "Well, there's another girl here, so might as well ask her." And the girl, of course, makes fun of him. And it's just all really cute. It's not a lot to go over. I can't really review this stuff like I do my JoJolian chapters, where every little thing counts. And the best advice that Hina can have is be a hunk, like Marcel Nguyen, who is, I think, a real-life sports athlete guy. Yeah. The next morning, Taiki comes by really early, hoping to get into the gym earlier than Chinasu. But Chinasu is there before him, reading. She is just sitting there, and he walks up and he's like, now's my chance. I gotta talk to her. First, I'll introduce myself. No, that's too sudden. I should thank her for the chocolate bar from the other day, even though I haven't eaten it yet. I know. I'll ask what she's reading. And he's self-conscious. We kind of get that. But as soon as she sniffles, which I don't know why romance manga artists do this. I know exactly why they do this, but it just gets me every time. They do these specific like poses to make you think, wow, that girl is really cute. Like I can see why the guy is like doing that. And they also kind of do that for the guy too, but in less obvious ways. Like this sniffle panel is directly to say like, hey boys, she's cute. There's another panel I'll point it out where she smiles, but yeah, they do that and it happens in this one. And Taiki sees the sniffle and he goes, here, have my scarf, and while you're at it, here's my gloves and I have pocket warmers. And then he goes, oh wait, what was I thinking? Like this, it's very good at setting up this series. Blue Box is very good at setting up the characters to be just kind of normal people, and I'm loving that. And here's the smile panel, by the way. It's the reaction when she says, oh, I was just wondering what else you were gonna pull out of that bag, which I think that she was gonna pull out the subscribe button for the False Mind channel. I think she was expecting him to do that, so you should hit that button if you made it this far. And we get the second like really like this girl is cute panel, which is the laughing panel with her eyes closed. I think Horimiya did it a lot. I've seen a lot of other panels where it's just like, guys, this girl is cute. Come on, think of that. So the manga really wants you to think of it, and he's just like, I got her to laugh, and then he sneezes, and the girl's like, okay, no, you can have this back. You don't need to put yourself in harm's way. And he's up in his own head thinking like, this is like a married woman put on a necktie, and he's thinking like, I don't need this. I really don't need this. She's the one that needs it, but it's all good until she mentions his name, of course. And yeah, we find out that Taiki's mom is someone who helps out with her basketball team, and that's it. And we find out that she knows that because of the tag on his sweater, and then she puts the connection that she knows his mom. And then Hina catches Taiki spying on her, just kind of looking at her, and then he goes back to the gym because he forgot something, finding Chinasu waiting there, and she asks him to play a one-on-one game. It's fine, but he's not very basketball person, and he's totally out of breath, as we all would be, I think, unless you're a basketball person or an athletic person in general. And she's like, okay, let's take 5. And then she kind of like gives him props. She says, but you're just what I expected from the badminton team. You're quick on your feet. And he says how he likes badminton, how he can only like rely on himself. And this is setting up some character weakness. I think this is going to come up again in a very volatile way, that he doesn't feel like he can rely on Chinasu in certain situations because he likes relying on himself. That's why he doesn't play a team game. That's why he doesn't even have a doubles. He doesn't play doubles. He plays singles, and it's telling. You gotta analyze when you're analyzing characters, when you're looking for little clues of where the story's going. You gotta look at all the little things and get what you can. Chinasu is a very social person. She's popular. She's got a skilled career, and that's because of her teammates. And this guy is not popular, and that's kind of represented by his isolation on the badminton court. So there's different ways you can look at it, but I think it all adds up. And he explains how he first kind of laid eyes on her, and it had been a year and a half ago, and he saw her playing so hard after she didn't get into nationals that she was crying. She was just shooting, practicing. He says that was the first time he realized he might have liked her. And she kind of like, she's embarrassed, obviously. She didn't think anyone was listening, but, and then someone says, time to go home. And then we cut to the next morning where Taiki officially is kind of just the best boy. He oversleeps and he's going out and he asks his mom, like, you know Chinasu-senpai? He finds out that his mom does in fact know Chinasu. She finds out that they used to be teammates, Chinasu's mother and Taiki's mother, and her mother's work is going to move her family overseas. It's happening mid-March, and we have this already pre-established thing where Taiki is a very indecisive person until he gets like this sudden boost of motivation, and that way he's a very, very standard shonen protagonist where, he might be indecisive or unconfident until something drives him specifically to do with his friends, and he runs over to school and he's huffing and puffing. He's like you have to go to nationals right before you go away. Like, you have to make it. I don't care how hard you have to work. Like, don't give up. And then she reveals Chinasu Senpai reveals that she's in fact not going overseas. She's staying with a family friend because she just has too much commitment to sports. And of course, sports can lead to professionalism and stuff. So she just wants to stay and practice her stuff. And she thanks him because of course she does. And we get I'd say as a third, like, guys, this girl is cute. Please think this girl is cute moment from her. And that's here, obviously, on screen. And she asks for another one-on-one and also says, well, let's try badminton too. And it's fun to see them kind of interacting. Like, he's fine playing basketball and she's fine playing badminton. It's nice and wholesome. And then we cut to Sunday, and he says, wait, all that stuff was embarrassing. And I find it funny because I like to think that this guy did this on a Friday, and then like 2 days later, he's like, oh shit, that was kind of embarrassing. And he's like, okay, well, at least I don't have to see her today. And then he goes downstairs, and guess who's standing in the doorway? Chinasu Senpai. Because, as was set up previously, he and his mother are the family friends. Yeah, she's gonna be living with him soon. That is the cliffhanger of a lifetime, baby. So let me tell you a bit of a story. I was sitting in my break room at work reading the story, and I was kind of like rattling off some of the major plot points that happened to a coworker. And she's not really into anime or manga, and she kind of makes fun of me for it. And, you know, and then I read the final chapter, and I said, oh, they're living together now. They're gonna be living together. And then I started reading another chapter. I think it was like My Hero Academia or Jujutsu Kaisen. And she's like, well, what happens next? And I'm like, I don't know. Chapter ended. I mean, just not even reading it, but just from kind of saying the plot points, she got invested in the characters. And I did too. I automatically fell in love with this. I didn't even have to read the chapter to fall in love because I've been hyping myself up to start the Blue Box chapter of this YouTube channel, where Blue Box is going to take the weekly slot. I think if I don't have any creative ideas or a video essay isn't ready, I'll just do a Blue Box chapter review, and then monthly JoJolian content as always. JoJolian videos won't stop, Blue Box videos will start, and anime and manga content sporadically throughout. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a bit of a longer video because Blue Box is a new manga, so it has a 50-page, almost 60-page chapter this week. And yeah, hope you leave a like in this video and subscribe, and have a nice day or evening or night. Peace.